I think we can say it. We can say Man United are now in the Champions League. Almost. Because if we lose every single game now to the end of the season, and I think Brighton win every single game, they will overtake us. But look, I think it's safe to say we're pretty much there. And I think it's quite fitting that Casemiro got the opening goal, obviously on his way out. Bruno to Harry Maguire heads it to the back to the front post. And Casemiro, like, he just peeled off. No one marked him. A really good header. And honestly, it was such a weird game. The first 10-15 minutes, I felt like we were all over them. Like, we started with some real purpose and verve here. And I love that about us. But this was one of the weirdest matches. I think, honestly, it was a let-off. In the end, we had the same number of shots as Brentford. And their XG was slightly higher than ours. Although I think Casemiro played pretty well. And I thought KOBBIE was amazing at times. Sensational. Our midfield did not control the game. It was such a weird game where Brentford, Igor Thiago, I do not know how that man has scored 21 league goals this season. He should have got at least 2, maybe even 3 goals last night. He had Aiden Heaven on toast. Aiden Heaven's had a really good last couple of weeks, but last night, he couldn't deal with Igor Thiago. But Igor Thiago's touch and finishing let him down massively. Honestly, I don't know how the hell he's got that many goals, but they were causing all sorts of problems just through the midfield. They especially the second half, I thought they were all over us. We were lucky to get away with a win there, being completely real with you. And I mean, we went 2-0 up through. It was so funny. You could tell Bruno's just trying to get the assist record now, because we broke and then it was Bruno going into the area, and a normal Bruno would probably just have smashed that into the goal himself, but he passed it to the left to Sesko, who then just buries it. I think our forwards had a bit of a crap game for saying how much attacking impetus we actually had. Like, I thought Mbeumo wasn't great, and Ahmad, wasn't that great. I think he came off as well. So, look, I think all in all, it was, like I said, it was a weird game. We got the result. The result's the most important thing, but I just think the performance kind of scared me. We actually went to a 5 at the back as well in the second half, which gives PTSD from Amarim's time. But look, the result's the main thing. The result is always the main thing in football. Okay, and it was just weird to see such a pinball-y game, especially like our 2 midfielders actually had really good games. Let's talk about KOBBIE Mainoo, or as I'm calling him now, KOBBIE Iniesta, because Iniesta is one of my favourite midfield players of all time. Just the way he just glide past players. And KOBBIE Mainoo last night could have had one of the best assists I have ever seen at Old Trafford. Genuinely. He drove from the middle of the pitch into their box and took on about 4 or 5 people with exquisite footwork. But not only that, strength. One thing that's happened since KOBBIE's come back from his injury is he looks a bit bigger. And I was like, it might make him a bit less slight on his feet. But I think he's just added strength, man. Like, this guy last night, one thing that's really since Carrick's come in, since he's actually got back into the team, one thing that I've really been impressed with KOBBIE is his strength, like, in order to just get people off the ball and winning those duels, because I think that was kind of lacking from his game when he first came into the team. But look, you've got to remember, this guy's 21, literally just turned 21 years old. Like, there's so much growth that this guy can do in the next couple of years, and we're seeing it right now. And I think, look, there's no better person to learn off for that kind of stuff than Casemiro, right? But honestly, the way he glided past a couple of players, and even did this like behind, like with his little heel, and then passed it over to Ahmad, and Ahmad should have scored, man. It got deflected for a corner, but oh my god, that genuinely would have been assist of the season. I think there's so much potential there. But like I said in my video yesterday about the midfield solution for Man United, even though I love KOBBIE Mainoo, it does not mean that I'm saying we should, like, he needs to be the kingpin in that midfield. I'd love him to be that, but if there aren't the right players around in order for him to excel, then there's no point doing that. And you have to have options right now as well, in the way that the Premier League is evolving. So yeah, an incredible talent. And then let's talk quickly about Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, I mean, I've glazed this guy from the day he actually stepped into the club. I think after the first couple of games, I started to call him world class, and my friends were like, what are you saying? And then I even said when he became captain, he deserved it. And people were like, oh, why did Harry get rid of it? Like, I've never rated Harry Maguire, I'll be real. He played well last night, but I've never rated him. So I got a lot of stick for that. But I genuinely believe Bruno is the best Man United captain since Roy Keane. And his level of performance, he's definitely, I mean, there's no argument about it. Like, he's definitely the best signing post Fergie for Man United. Arguably, is he the best signing since like Wayne Rooney in 04 for Man United? I think that's a conversation. Like, I'm trying to think who we've had past then who's really stepped up. Like, who did we have? We had Michael Carrick. People might argue Michael Carrick was amazing, don't get me wrong, but in terms of like that world-class talent, Michael Carrick was, I think, just below that. He was like an amazing player, but I'd say Michael Carrick's there. Owen Hargreaves was, if he was here longer, he might have been considered. Owen Hargreaves was class, but again, same level as Michael Carrick in my opinion. We had Nani, who was inconsistent as fuck, but on his day could be the best player in the world. We had Berbatov, who was all right. We had Carlos Tevez, who for 2 years was amazing. I wish he stayed longer, but yeah, we know how that ended. But yeah, I genuinely think Bruno might be the best signing since Wayne Rooney for Man United. I know people might say Robin van Persie, but that was only a couple of years. Like, I genuinely think he is. I genuinely think he's the best signing since Wayne Rooney, which is actually mad. That's the best signing in the last 20 years. Jeez. But that's where we are as a football club. And look, Brentford, Brentford actually, I didn't touch on them. They played very well in this game, like apart from the first 15 minutes. They took the game to us. Like I said, Igor Thiago missed a whole host of chances. I do not know how he's got this many goals, genuinely. And then Jensen at the end, what a goal. Honestly, beat Saint-Germain. And actually, you know what? I didn't touch upon Saint-Germain. Saint-Germain has surprised me massively this year. The reason is because when we were linked with him and when we bought him, I looked at highlights of him. I always do this. And he looked solid, but he looked a bit not the quickest reflex kind of guy. And I was a bit iffy on him at the start. I was like, I mean, he's better than Onana. Anyone's better than Onana. I'm buying it. But I hate Onana with a passion. But I'll be honest, since we've had a new goalkeeping coach come in as well, I think he's just turned it up a notch. He's absolutely class. Like last night, he saved us. He was our match winner last night. Saint-Germain was literally our match winner. Without him, we would have lost that game. I know he only had to make a few saves, but he was made some really crucial saves and really crucial clearances as well. He's just honestly just brings a calming presence. He reminds me of Edwin van der Sar a lot. There's something about him that's just very calming. And if you look at in our past, all of our best goalkeepers since the turn of the century have been the most calm presence. Like you've had Edwin van der Sar, David De Gea, now Saint-Germain. And and honestly, like saved our ass like yesterday. But look, onwards and upwards, we are now, we're now looking like we're going to be in Champions League next year. But I pray to God we don't do a Newcastle, like where we basically just have an off season because we just can't fight on that front as well. The other thing I would want to just before we go just touch upon is the Champions League. So it is the semi-final first legs this week. So the first one today is PSG Bayern Munich at Parc des Princes. Honestly, I think these are the two. Look, I said this in the last round. These two and Real Madrid, for me, are the three best teams in this competition. And I think you saw it in the last round when I know Bayern Munich eventually sort of ran out quite easy winners over Real Madrid, but that was obviously because of the red card. But I think Bayern Munich, I think people are looking at them a bit. Like for me, PSG are the favourites here. And the reason is because I think Bayern Munich attacking-wise, great. And I think in midfield, they're solid. They're solid. But it's their defence that I just can't understand, because we saw against Real Madrid in both games, and Real Madrid haven't been the greatest this season. They were able to create so many chances against Bayern Munich. And I don't know if that's just companies, management, I don't know. But attacking-wise, Bayern look great. Defensively, I'm not so sure on them. I think in the midfield, on the transition, they couldn't. That's why I said they're okay midfield. They've got good midfielders. But I think on the transition, it's hard for them. They're not the most physical, let's say. Now, when you look at PSG, I think PSG, for me, they play with so many rotations which can bamboozle any team. Like their front three, which you could arguably call it a front four if you add in the sub like of Barcola in there. So you got Barcola, Kvara, Dembele, and Doué, right? Them four, I know only three of them usually play. Insane. And then you got the midfield to back that up. But not just that, it's the defenders, it's their wing backs. These PSG have the best wing back combination I think possibly I've ever seen in world football since I've been watching football. And that's what's going to help them here, I think. And I just see, and PSG have had a weird season themselves. Like I feel like up until like January, even early February, they've not been great. And now they've just started to find form at just the right time. And I can see PSG winning this one, especially the first leg at home. And then obviously let's quickly touch upon Arsenal because I hate them. They're playing away at Atletico Madrid on Wednesday, and my gut instinct is Atletico win this. And I don't know if anyone actually has watched Atletico in the last couple of years, because if you're thinking of Atletico as being this harambal team that just, you know, part the bus and just, you know, dirty tactics, defensively solid, they're not that team anymore. They've actually leaked quite a few goals this year. Like, even Arsenal bopped them for 4 earlier in this season in the Champions League. But, I mean, they're a different team compared to then. I think they were still kind of figuring it out. But Simeone is a quality manager, the most highest paid manager in the world by a mile, apparently. But I just think they've got something about them. They've got something about them. And I can generally... And I had them going through against Barcelona anyway prior to the game. And I feel as though Atletico have what it takes to beat Arsenal as well. I think Arsenal have started to show a little bit of signs of intent in the last game in the Premier League, but I can only see an Atletico win here. I'd love for it to be like a 3-0, but I think Arsenal will get one. So I think personally it'll be like a 3-1. But yeah, we'll see. Look, I think it'll be. This is not the Atletico Madrid of 10. That Diego Simeone as manager is not how he was 10 years ago, with like just focusing on defense and just shutting out teams. He's less pragmatic as he used to be, and I think you'll see that. And I think both games will have a lot of goals. That's what I'm predicting. But anyway, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm doing daily videos on this channel. And let me know what you want to see. I'm going to be doing a World Cup series coming soon as well. So make sure you subscribe and tap that like button as well. But yeah, anyway, till tomorrow. Peace.